All right. Welcome again to this channel. Today, I want to say big welcome to you. Today, I want to be discussing something very important. I mean, everything I discuss is important, but yeah, I want to discuss something very important today, which has been a source of concern for very many people. People probably did an undergraduate course, a BSc course, and then they are looking at some other courses now that they are really interested in, and then that they don't know what to do about it, and they're thinking, okay, should I go and do a BSc again? What should I do exactly? So I want to discuss how to switch from your present course of study to another course that you actually have interest in for PhD, for masters and PhD, and so that you also have funding with it. Let me say this first and foremost, that I've seen different experiences of people. I've had different experiences of people who switch from one course to another. In fact, I have some as friends who switch from one course to another. For example, let me share with a friend of mine who switched from physics to data analytics. Okay, and then he didn't have a computer science background in that sense, but was able to switch from physics to come to data analytics. I have another person who switched from physics to MBA. Of course, anyone can do MBA in that sense. And I also saw someone who switched from sociology to public health, even though you might argue that public health has a part of sociology in it and all those stuff. But the person went from sociology to public health in that sense. And I also know someone, not know, I saw a CV, okay, who went from economics to pharma economics, something like this, something like pharma economics, something that has to do with pharmacy anyway. I saw someone like that, someone who did that. So this is what people do every time. People are switching from one course to another. People are. I know someone who did mechanical engineering from Nigeria. Now what he's doing now is more of education related. Okay, I know someone like that too, who's doing more of educational related stuff here in the US for his PhD. So people are switching. People switch every time from one course to another. So if you have that as a desire, I think you should stay tuned and listen properly, because I'll be addressing some of those things you need to do. Some of those things you need to do. I've seen a lot of people who have switched. In fact, I know someone who switched, who, of course, he did mathematics education, and then he did PhD fully in mathematics, even outside after his BSc and masters from Nigeria. Okay, so first and foremost, let me say this, that when you are switching, there are some courses that you cannot switch to, which will require a detailed knowledge of a detailed theoretical background knowledge. Okay, for example, someone who did a Greek science now cannot say he wants to switch to physics for masters and PhD, because you need some theoretical background knowledge in physics, which you cannot gain outside the class. Okay. Now, there are many courses that you can switch to, whereby the knowledge you need, you can gain them outside of the class, or you can switch to some courses that are close to your own course. For example, I know someone who did biochemistry from Nigeria, and now she has switched to pharmaceutical sciences. Okay, that's still close. You can still relate that. Or you did chemistry, you want to switch to pharmacy. That's very possible. Okay, but you can't say you did. Let me use. You did. Let me say biology now, and you want to switch to petroleum engineering. There may be an aspect that you can fit in, but you say you cannot fit in totally. So the research work, yeah, the um, research work, yeah, let me use the word research work. That's one of the things that will determine if you can switch to it or not. Sometimes there is an overlap of research work in all these different courses, and that gives you an idea of what you can switch to or what you cannot switch to. Okay, for example, now there are multidisciplinary courses now every now and then. If you look at many of the research that we have in ongoing presently in universities, at for different national labs, different facilities, different institutes. Most of them are multidisciplinaries. That means it's possible that someone who did physics, for example, will have to do a research in cancer. That's doing cancer biology. Okay, because there is an overlap somewhere there between physics and all this cancer stuff, radiation and health physics. Okay, so that is very, very possible. So you have to look deep in your field, within your field, and the field you are going to, where is the overlap? You want to know what overlap occurs there. Now, it's also possible that there is no actual overlap, but the course you are switching to, almost anybody can gain the knowledge, the background knowledge needed outside of the classroom. Okay, for example, okay, now, so Kesa is asking a question. You have an agricultural background and you want to switch to environmental science. That's very possible. That's very, very possible. Anybody can get the background knowledge needed for environmental science outside of the classroom. And in fact, many courses that we do in the university, for environmental science as an example, we can have the background knowledge. I know someone who did biology or something in Nigeria. Now she's doing something that has to do with, okay, she was admitted to environmental science. Okay, so almost anybody in the sciences in code, or almost anybody can switch to environmental science as an example. Okay, agric, you can switch to environmental science. Now, I know many people want to switch to data science, many people want to switch to public health, many people want to switch to environmental science, like you are asking here, many people want to switch to all these other courses. They are very, very possible. So, the purpose of this video is to tell you what to do, okay, in order to be able to switch to all these courses. Okay, number one, after identifying where you want to switch to, you need to start taking steps to get knowledge in that direction. Let me use my friend who switched from physics to data analytics. After finishing physics and he discovered I want to switch to data analytics, what he started doing was to start learning things that has to do with data analytics. He started learning programming. Okay, they do all these things in Nigeria a lot, learning programming, learning data science, data analytics, data whatever. That's what my friend started doing. He started learning those data analytics, started learning those programming, he started writing codes, he started doing all those stuff. Started doing all those stuff and started doing projects. So when he wrote his SOP, some of those things he put in his SOP, in his statement of purpose as research experience, were some of those things he did while learning unofficially in codes. You know what I mean by unofficially? While learning unofficially how to do all those codes, how to write all those codes. So those were some of the things he put in his SOP, in his CV. Those were the content. Okay. And of course, when those who make decisions see that this guy has the background knowledge already, and then he had a good GRS score, of course, they saw he had the background knowledge, they had no choice than to take him in. Okay. And then with his physics background, they believe this guy must be smart. Okay. Now, in fact, someone who was admitted to environmental science, in fact, that's not even hard. That's not even hard at all. It's just about being able to tailor your research interests into that line. Environmental science is easy for almost anybody to tailor your research interest into that. Okay, so first thing you want to do is to start learning things in that direction. Start learning things in that direction. Another thing you can do is to start gaining research experience in that direction. For example, if you finish from school, let's say you did biology, and then you are interested in environmental science, like someone is interested here, go to think about organizations that do things that has to do with environmental science, and then go there and start learning more. Okay, start become a research intern there, and then learn more and more about what they are doing. Okay, saying that will show, saying that in your SOP will show that you are a serious candidate, you are a serious student who is very passionate about what she wants to do, he or she wants to do, and then who is ready to learn and who is ready to flow in with the program. Now, all these schools, all this admission committee, one of the things they want to measure is the ability of the candidate they are taking in to remain in the program and to succeed in the program. So one way to show to them that you have that passion, you are passionate, you want to stay and remain in the program, is by being able to demonstrate that you have participated in various things and various work that has to do with what you're applying for. Okay, so identify an organization. For example, someone who wants to do nutrition science. I know some people are switching to nutrition science and all those stuff. You want, and then let's say your background is somewhere around zoology, botany. You want That it's possible to switch. Okay, you want to identify, aside the fact that there are overlapping research areas, even with botany and all those nutrition science and those stuff, you still want to identify an organization, a research lab, or anywhere that you think that those where they do things related to the nutrition science you want. Some might say IT in Ibadan, Nigeria, you want to go there, become a research intern there. Okay. Another thing you can do is to volunteer. Okay. Someone want to do public health, for example. Some of the things you can do is to volunteer for organizations that have things doing with public health. Okay, let's say you want to volunteer with organizations, those that form campaign around for those, let's say, women with breast cancer, cervical cancer, or whatever. That's an aspect of it. An aspect of it can even be in the lab. Okay, so volunteer, spend your time with all those organizations that do something related to what you want to go for. Okay, volunteer your time. It shows that you have passion, you really have passion for it. And of course, another thing you can do is to take courses online. Just take courses online. I know someone who wanted to initially switch to public health from what she was doing from the sciences. She wanted to switch to public health, and then what she did was to go on Coursera and all this other stuff to start taking courses on public health. Now, when they see that in your CV, when they see that in your statement of purpose, it shows to them that this guy is actually serious. This guy has gone ahead to fill in the knowledge gap. Okay, so that he can have the background knowledge needed for what he or she wants to do. Okay, so it's very important to show, to demonstrate seriousness to the graduate committee. It's very, very, very important. Okay, so let me quickly recap. What I have said is this. Number one, you can have areas of intersection between your course, the course you want to do, and the course you're presently doing, and the one you want to do. You can have areas of intersection, and then you can base your research area, your research interest in that area and be in the other department. Okay. Number two, I said it is possible to start learning those things you want to do. Start unofficially, okay, not necessarily in an official setting. And I gave the examples of the data science that you can do, the coding without even being a computer science student, without having that background, that official background as as a computer science student. You can actually do that, okay, for such courses. And I also mentioned the fact that it is possible to learn these things officially officially in the sense of taking all these online courses, and then you're able to convince the admission committee that that is what you are, that's what you can do. And I also mentioned the fact that you can present yourself as a research intern or as a volunteer in organizations already doing what you want to do. You are not actually learning in the official setting. You are just gaining the research experience. See, many of these professors, what they want to see is a student with a research experience who knows what he's doing, a student who has the necessary research skills, who can use the software, who can use all these things. That's what they actually want to see. So when you are able to do that, they won't forget about your background. Okay, so it is very, very possible to do these things and move from the course where you are presently to the course where you want to be. And then someone asked the question is it possible to move from a Greek background to environmental science? And I said, yes, it's very, very possible, very, very feasible. People do it all the time. People do it all the time. Let me take some questions here. It's a very short video today. Let me take some question here. So Ernest, you're asking here, graduate coordinator have waived GRE from you. Is necessary. So if they have waived it for you, if they have waived the GRA for you and they're telling you that it won't be used for you, then you don't need to write it, especially when you are financially handicapped. Okay. So you don't need to write it, especially when you are financially handicapped. You don't need to write it. You don't need to write it. Okay. All right, let me just take some questions on what I've briefly discussed. Is because I'll be ending soon in a few minutes. In 2 3 minutes, I should be ending. Uh, Let me take one or two questions, and it's 15 minutes already. So if there are no questions, I'm just gonna end the session. Just know that it is possible. Let no one tell you it's not possible. Okay, let no one tell you it's not possible. It is very, very possible. Very, very possible. It's very, very, very possible. All right. Okay, so if you have brothers, friends, sisters, uncles, anyone, those you know who want to switch their course from their present course to another one, you can share this video with them. Just simple things you can do, basic things you can do, so that you don't need to stress yourself too much. Some of those things that you can even start doing them while you are in school, if you know that you actually want to switch your course while you are in school. You can actually start doing some of those things. For example, if I know someone who did physics and went to do petroleum engineering. Okay, did an aspect of petroleum engineering, then came back to physics for a PhD. Did physics BSc, petroleum engineering MSc, came back to do physics PhD. So it's possible. And even in our physics department, we have people who come from other departments. We have people who come from electrical background. People come from all those other background in our physics too. So people who just switch. You plan to switch from mechanical engineering to a field under computer science. That's very possible. Those ones are you have you have lines of intersection. Okay, any engineering, anything like that, you can switch to computer science. In fact, from any course of study, you can switch to any aspect of computer engineering that you actually want. Okay, so all these ones are very, 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 very possible. They're very, very possible. But of course, I explained during this session that there are some links that you can't actually find. There are some um, crossing that are not really feasible. And this switching, of course, is very important because there are some but you must have known by now that there are more funding opportunity available for STEM courses compared to non-STEM courses. Okay, those of us in the sciences and tech and engineering and mathematics, we have more funding available than those in the social sciences, than those in the in those other courses, social sciences, accounting, all those stuff. So it is possible for those in the non-STEM courses to look at a STEM course and see what they want to do, how they want to switch to a STEM course. Okay, for example, the person I mentioned who did economics as BSc and found herself in in pharmacy. Let me just use that word. And found herself in pharmacy eventually. Okay, she had to look at a point of intersection between economics and the pharmacy, and then they coined something called pharmacoeconomics or something like that. And that's what the person did. The person is a faculty member in the pharmacy department, okay, in a school here in the US. The person is from Africa too. The person is a faculty member. So those in the non-STEM can look at STEM courses that are close to them and see what can I do. See, I know someone who studied special education in Nigeria from UI, and then what the person is doing now is basically STEM. The person is writing codes, the person is writing Python programs, writing all those things, doing speech pathology, doing separation of speech and all those stuff, which is STEM. Okay, which is STEM in itself. So wherever you are, you can switch from whatever you are doing to somewhere where the funding is. That's one main reason why people actually switch. Okay, that's one main reason why people actually switch. They want to switch to where the funding is, because they don't have funding in their department, they don't have funding in the course they found themselves in. And then this is more true for those in the non-STEM courses who want to come to STEM courses. So it is very, very important that you find that area of intersection. If you can't find it, you want to leave totally, and then you start volunteering in places where you think they use the skill you want. Start volunteering, start learning as much as possible, start interning, become a research intern there, and learn as much as possible there. Okay, so it is very, very, very possible. It's very, very possible. So yes, Ayodele, you can do that. You can actually do that once you want to do switch to curriculum development course. If I have a tweet on my Twitter page where I gave I gave a list of schools doing curriculum, something on curriculum, education curriculum, something around that. So you can search, just type search in my page and search curriculum. So you should get something. Okay, so Nada, you saying you missed the live stream on the SOP and the opportunity I get for SOP. You can, I'm not taking SOP now. Okay, I'm still reviewing those ones I collected the last time. I've been quite busy. I was out for 2 weeks. I didn't review anything for 2 weeks plus. So not now, but when I'm reviewing again, I'll definitely let you know. I'll definitely let you know. Ayodele, you found it. That's very good. You found the tweet. That's very good. That's very good. All right, let me give 5 seconds for if anyone wants to ask a question. Uh, and if there are no questions, I will just uh, I will just have to end this stream. I'll just have to end the stream. Okay, 5 seconds, 5 seconds, 5 seconds, 5 seconds. All right, it seems there are no more questions. All right, thank you guys for joining in. It's just a quick one today. I'll be jumping in and out that way. Hopefully, every weekend, if it's possible, I will see. And if not, however I get a time, I'll just jump in. All right, thank you for joining in today. Thank you. God bless you. Real good. And if you've not subscribed to this channel, don't forget to subscribe. Subscribe to this channel. Oh. Subscribe, okay? All right. God bless you. Really good.